What's up, family? It's Thursday, so that means it is Real Talk Thursday here at TFC. I don't know about y'all, but I love our welcome song. So every time the countdown is on, I'm always jamming to it. So we're happy to see every last one of y'all. So let us know in the comments right now how your day was, what y'all been up to. Wave at us or something, and let us know that you're watching. Tonight, I'm really excited because the whole month of September, we're talking about mental and emotional health and how therapy and theology marry together. We say this all the time. You cannot separate your spiritual wellness from your emotional wellness. They are tied together. And so kind of all month long, you're going to be hearing that theme kind of consistently. We're going to share something with you that's coming up on Saturday at the end of this to kind of express that a little bit more. But tonight, we are talking about reimagining boundaries. And we're going to drill just a little bit deeper to really dive into something that I feel has been a burden for a lot of Black women, which is that strong Black woman narrative. And we're talking about how that affects their mental and emotional health. Now, before we dive in, if you're like, hey, I'm not Black, I'm not a woman, so maybe I should log off. No, you shouldn't. Because there are going to be things that we're going to hit on that you can definitely use. But also, we love allyship around here, right? And so a great part of being an ally is just to listen. So we hope that you hear something in the conversation that you're enlightened to that you didn't know before. So I'm about to shut up and have my friends introduce themselves. But on top of that, I want y'all to tell me, when is the first time that you either heard or experienced hearing that strong Black woman mantra in your life? So like, what was the first time you either heard it or experienced it? Tierney, I'm gonna start with you because I'm just going to order that's on my screen.
Okay, awesome. Hey everyone, like she said, I'm Tierney. So the first time I ever, I think I understood that Black women were supposed to be strong growing up and throughout, high school and undergrad, but I never heard of it referred to as the strong Black woman narrative until I was in seminary, and Dr. C has a whole book about the strong Black woman narrative. And I think that's the first time I heard of it in that context. So I grew up always knowing that Black women are supposed to be strong and we're powerful and we're strengthful and keep things together. But the narrative and the whole strand in that concept, I don't think I heard about it until I was in seminary.
Cool. Pamela, what about you?
Ooh, well, I'm kind of the same as Tierney. It's something that I always heard growing up. It's always portrayed on TV. It's portrayed even in cartoons. It's in advertisement. It's in the books. It's in the movies. It's in everything. So it's ingrained into us as Black women, as it's just something that we are. We don't get a choice. But I think the first time I ever heard somebody refer to that, it might have been almost 10 years ago when I was working at a majority Black company, contracting at a company as a therapist. And we were sitting around talking about some of the issues in our community and some of the struggles that our families were having. And that came up in a conversation about having to be strong and take care of everything and do everything for everybody while our mental health gets ignored. So I think that was the first time that I heard somebody put language to it and identify it as something separate from us. So yeah, first time.
Yeah. Elle, what about you?
For me, I had never heard it under those terms like all of us have said, as it actually has a name. But I would say, just like we talk about being caught and taught, I saw it as I was growing up. I witnessed it. Didn't really know what that was, but it was a caught mindset that this is just the way we're supposed to be. This is the way you be a woman. This is the way you can't show your feelings. All that kind of stuff was something I saw on a regular basis from not only within my immediate family, but my aunts, even going to church. I would still see that scenario even in working and going to different things as an adolescent. So that scenario was always a part of what I saw.
Yeah, I would have to say the same thing. Like, you literally took my answer, Mel, because like, I caught it when I was younger, watching my mom go to school, work full time. She was married, but she primarily did everything pretty much for me. Like, I was in everything. So coming to all of my stuff and things of that nature. And so I just watched, like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to operate in the world. Like, you just take everything on and you keep pushing. And there would even be times where I would see her be, sad, but she still would have to push through, or she'd be sick, but she can't really be sick because she still has to, push through. So I caught that. I would say at the first time I heard it, though, was maybe about 5 years ago. Like Pamela said, I finally had some language to put to it that I think I saw on social media. I think it was on Twitter. And I was like, wait, oh my God, that's exactly it. So that was the very first time that I had heard it. So yeah, so I identify with all y'all's answers. So I want to talk to y'all about how this has played out for you personally, with that type of expectation from the world, from people who utilize that language. I've heard other Black women use it with other Black women. Girl, you just need to be strong. How has that played a part or an effect on your mental health? And Pamela, I'll start with you. Just in your everyday, all of us are in different fields. So how has that played a part for you, maybe professionally and even personally, and how that has affected your mental health?
I think for me, it has played out alongside of the work that I do as a therapist. Whenever you are working with people that look like you on a regular basis, and you're trying to help them process, and you're taking in all of their things, all of their issues, all of their problems, and you work for a company that doesn't recognize who you are and recognize that you are also Black, and that the same thing may also be affecting you. And so there's no resource, there's no outlet to say, hey, I see you as a Black woman. I know that this is a major struggle. I know that you're dealing with this at the same time that you're trying to provide therapy for others. So here's a resource for that. And that's what I run into a lot, just especially with companies not understanding that, yeah, there are things that are happening in the world, but there are also some things that are specific to Black women. And so having those mental health resources that we're just now getting, that are popping up after a few years, like therapy for Black girls, which is wonderful. But it's like, we just need resources, because things affect us the same way, if not more than everybody else, because of this narrative. The lack of resources is the effect.
Yeah, good. Mel, how have you really seen this play out for you personally and even professionally with, how's this affected you with just that strong Black woman narrative?
It has caused me to unlearn everything I learned. For example, because it was a caught message, I found myself is there something called self-silencing, where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling negative emotions, but you don't feel like it's okay to say anything. And so that's just one of the things that I found to be the norm for me, growing up. I never saw my mom be weak. And I wouldn't even say weak, have emotions about something. Let's say she had a bad day, or you really were feeling hurt about something. I've never seen that wasn't played in my adolescence and growing up. And so because I never saw that, I never saw or was encouraged or celebrated for sharing how I really was feeling about anything. To be honest, if I had something that was bothering me, or I felt hurt about something, or I was angry about something, in addition to the professional realm, you just suck it up and don't say anything. That whole dynamic of, wear the mask. I had the best masks to wear to keep all my emotions off of my face and within me, which in turn can lead to this strength that turns into depression. So for me, I was not in tune with myself enough to be able to say, you know what, I'm really having a hard day, and not having an outlet to be able to share that with anybody. So that became my new norm, in the sense of, okay, well, you're just not supposed to share how you feel. You know, you're just supposed to just keep it in and you figure it out on your own, which is not the right message. So as an adult, I found myself giving myself permission to have feelings, to share them, and professionally get help. You know, if I had, like, when I went through my divorce, I went and got therapy for that, because I was like, whatever just happened to me, I really need to talk about it. And I'm not going to be ashamed about it, because another message growing up was, you know, if you only go see the therapist if you're crazy. I didn't really care at that moment in my life, because I was like, I'm going to do what I need to do for me. So I would say my unlearning of that cult kind of behavior happened about 10 years ago for me. So it's been the best thing for me, because I realized that being human, it involves all of these emotions, and there's nothing wrong with it. And so in order for me to be the best version of me, I need to work out whatever I'm feeling and understand it, so then I can grow from it. So that was what this strong woman narrative did for me. I had to let it go in order for me to live my best life.
Yeah, I identify with so much of that. Tierney, what about you?
Like you just said, I identify a lot with what Mel said. I think for me, the strong Black woman narrative made me feel like I was supposed to always be busy. And so as someone who's like early in career and like still full-time student, it's like I'm always supposed to be doing something. If I'm not doing something, I feel guilty for not doing the thing that I want to take a break from, because I just feel like it should always be productivity. And like resting isn't productive is what your mind will tell you. Even though if you don't rest, then how are you going to be productive for yourself or for anybody else? And so I think for me, that's how it's played out. It's like having a packed calendar, having a busy schedule, never taking any time off. Even when you're on vacation, you're doing work. And so just this constant cycle of I need to be doing, I need to be producing in a tangible way, not producing rest for myself or doing things like self-care or adult coloring or listening to music or any of the things that I find fun. Those need to happen in the background while you're also doing some work to be productive and produce something. And so I think the narrative has taught me that. And as I have been exposed to the damage that it does and the ways that it has conditioned us, I've tried a little bit more intentionally to unlearn some of those things. And so to take a Sabbath, to know that my day doesn't have to be packed from 9 to 9, like, girl, that's too long. Ain't nobody got time for no 12-hour days. Like, no. And so I think for me, unlearning that constant busyness, or that I need to always be going or producing or doing, has been how I've seen it show up for me.
Oh, that's good. I see a common thread here is unlearning, so I'm gonna come back to that. But I think for me, how it has shown up within the past few years, well, I'll take it back. I think for me, a lot of it came from what Tierney was saying. Like, I feel like I have to do things, was because I felt like, and sometimes still do feel that way, that I'm in spaces where my voice isn't heard. So I feel like my work will show that, you know, I'm knowledgeable. My work will show that I'm smart. My work will show that I'm valuable, right? And in doing that, I have overcommitted in a lot of ways, to the point where I have been completely burned out, but will still do it because, and even though I'm struggling, I like, because no, I can't let people see that, you know, I have a bad day, or I can't let people see that I'm about to break down. And I think one of the ways that this played out was recently, or not too many years ago in ministry, if I'm honest. I was broken. Like broken. And the thing that kept being preached to me is, but you're strong. You're strong. You can handle it. You can take it. It's okay. You're going to be all right. And so it further enforced, okay, I have to keep doing. I have to keep doing, and I have to keep doing, and I have to keep going, and I have to keep pushing, and I have to keep doing this and that, going here and there. When all the while I needed help. Like, I needed somebody to be like, girl, if you don't sit your butt down somewhere, talk to a therapist. And I just thank God that I had enough forewithal to be like, yo, something's not right. I really need to go talk to somebody. And to understand that it was okay for me to have emotions. It was okay for me to have a bad day. Okay for me not to be okay. And that was really hard. I'm still learning that, y'all. Like, because I'm still learning how to break up my days where I'm done at work at 5. Because most times I'm still working past 8 o'clock. And it's like, no. And so I had to check myself. But there was a common thread that you all said that you're unlearning. And so I'm curious for somebody who's listening right now, what is the process that you went through? What are some things that you did to kind of unlearn a lot of the patterns or, what you saw? How did that work? Mel, I'll start with you because I don't think I start with you first. So I'll start with you of what are some things that you did to kind of unlearn that?
Okay, so some things I did. First of all, I identified what things were hurting me. What things were making me feel overwhelmed, first and foremost. For example, to your point, we can talk about ministry, for example. Is this, being a part of this particular ministry, is it helping me or hindering me? Am I feeling more overwhelmed, or am I not being true to myself because I'm over committing myself to be a part of this? Once I figure out that's a yes or a no, then if it's a yes, I'm feeling overwhelmed. What kind of feelings does it bring up for me? I then identify what emotions have I experienced because of that particular situation. What is the opposite of what I want to feel is the third question to ask myself. Is this something that is going to help me support what I value as my core values? Or is it not going to be a part of that? Because it all comes down to really your core values. What means the most to you? What do you value the most in your life at that moment? And that's what you need to then look at everything around you, your activities, your interactions with people, and then see if that fits into who you are as a person. So again, I go through and figure out what's not working. I figure out what is it causing, what kind of negative feelings is it causing for me, or discomfort is causing for me. And then I put together a plan of action on what steps I need to take in order for me to get back into my core values. What's going to make me have my peace back? What's going to give me back my joy in that moment? And then I go from there. And I just repeat that with everything I do. I figure, okay, I take it one thing at a time. What's causing the most problems for me? What's the most priority as far as it's really having the most negative impact on me? And then I go from there and just start eliminating or adjusting as I go to see what's going to be the best balance for me.
That's good. Tierney, what about you? Because you said you unlearned some things. So how did you unlearn it?
I think for me, it's still unlearning. So like, I have not arrived. I have not mastered it. It's some days when I be like, girl, now you should have been doing all of that. Okay, but so 2 of the things that I started doing that have been really helpful for me is, one, when people ask me how I am, I don't lie. So one of my new favorite phrases when someone asks me how I am and I'm having a bad day is I say I'm present. So I'm not gonna tell you I'm good because I might not be good, but I don't know you like that, and I might not want to tell you I'm bad either. So I am present. I am here. I am sitting in this seat doing whatever this thing I'm supposed to be doing, and that's all I got for you today.
I'm with you.
Yep. And then the other thing that I've been doing is being intentional about taking 1 day a week off. So off from work, off from school, off from anything that doesn't mean just me and Netflix or a book that's not related to anything productive. And so being committed to those 2 things has started to help me along the journey of unlearning. And so hopefully I can get these days under 12 hours in the near future. So that is the next goal for me.
That's so good. And I identify with a lot of that because I'm doing it too. Pamela, what about you?
I'm with Tierney. I'm still in the process. I have to be honest. I'm not a busybody. So my strong Black woman issue isn't in existential busyness. It's mental. It's the stuff that I hold on to that I should open my mouth and say something about. That's my struggle. So I'm still unlearning how to always feel like I have to be mentally strong and I have to carry everything and process everything and hold everything in, because a lot of times we internalize that narrative. As toxic as it can be, we internalize it. And so we get ready to express ourselves, or let me just use myself, for example. I'll get ready to express myself because something is weighing on me, something is bothering me. It could be weeks and months at a time. And I will avoid it in order to not come across bitchy, because that's also a part of that strong Black woman narrative. You always bitching and complaining. You always, that's the narrative that we get along with the strength, is like, we just are hard to deal with, difficult. So I'm unlearning the need to manage every single emotion solo, based off of the judgment that I think I'm gonna get if I say, hey, I don't have the emotional bandwidth for this. I don't want to, like, my mind just can't handle it, instead of just sitting and taking it in and then trying to figure out what to do with it on my own. So my unlearning has been to give grace to myself, to expose myself to different things. Being a therapist has helped me tremendously. Understanding what those emotions do to the body and the nervous system has helped me tremendously. I don't always get it right. I dare not say that I always get that right, but that's where I am with that. Being mindful of my thoughts and my feelings, and understanding the connection of that to my body and what that does to my body and my immune system has been major, especially in the past few months.
Yeah, we gonna hop into that before we end this conversation, because I think that's such a critical part of this. I know for me, I'm with Tierney. I have made Sundays my Sabbath. I don't do a blessed thing on Sundays. Like, like I chill out. I just rest. I try not to open my laptop. I really try my best to make that a Sabbath. And that has helped me a lot with refocusing and just like really prioritizing, because I can't do everything. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. The thing for me too, in that unlearning process, is to be honest and to name your emotions. I think for me, I have, compressed emotions so much that there would be times I could not identify what emotion I was feeling. So in the unlearning process, I've also had to learn, okay, what emotion is this? Why am I bothered by this? Like, why is this upsetting me? What does this mean? What emotion is this? Because there are times I'm like, I don't even know what emotion I'm feeling. And what I think something really is, it actually is something else. So really just doing the reflective work of, processing and understanding what my emotions are. And it's okay for me to feel that. Like Pamela said, I've given myself grace. I'm mad today. I'm sad today. I'm happy today. I'm good today. And I think that's been super, super duper helpful. And the last thing for me in unlearning is I follow other women who are free. Like,
That's so major.
I'm telling you, watching these women walk in their freedom. And I mean, learning really toxic theology is women who are progressive in their theology, and just being able to watch and listen to them, and many of them are very open with their stories. So it makes me feel like, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not by myself. They went through this, but she's on the other side. So that has been major for me, is following those voices. Pamela, I really want to go back to something in this conversation about how when we don't deal with the emotions, when we don't deal with how it affects our bodies. Because I think as Black women, especially, because we don't sometimes, or we feel like we don't have room to deal with our emotions, we break down at some point, and it shows in our bodies somewhere. I know for me, Lord Jesus, I think in the past 2 years, I've been in and out of urgent care. And I really think it's been stress, if I'm very honest. And I just haven't. So walk me through, what you've seen and how it affects the body, physically, how our emotions, when we don't deal with it, how it affects the body.
Well, those emotions are connected to our neural system. And so, I was talking about this, I think on Saturday, about how just like that, those good releases and that good high feeling of dopamine that we get, that surge of exhilaration we get sometimes when we're really excited or, surprised or whatever, it works the same way with emotions like stress and anger and sadness and anxiety. When we don't have space for processing, and we don't create spaces for our voice, or we're feeling like wherever we are, we aren't heard, those get into our nervous system. And so what happens is it breaks us down. It breaks down our immune system. It breaks down our ability for our internal organs to do their jobs properly. So we have high blood pressure. We have other heart issues, palpitations. We have anxiety. A lot of times we can have things like nightmares. We can have physiological pains, migraines, muscle aches, different types of things get into our bodies and break our bodies down because our mind and our bodies are connected. And so if the mind isn't at rest and at peace and it's disturbed, it just sends all of that out into our nervous system. And then our body starts to respond to the brain needing some rest. That is how that works.
So listen, about half of that stuff you named, I've had.
Me too.
I was like, I can't my business though.
Me too. I stepped on my own toes.
And I'm looking at the comments. A lot of y'all are like, yeah, because I just don't think we realize. Like, I remember maybe a month ago, I thought I was having a straight heart attack. Like, palpitations were really bad. And the first thing the doctor asked me, Miss Thomas, are you stressed out? Oh, and then I thought about everything I have on my plate and stuff that I'm responsible for. I was like, man, yeah, let me stop lying. I'm really stressed. So I think that that's super, super duper important. So I wish we could keep talking, but real talk be short on Thursdays. So with this, and Mel, I'll start with you. What things that y'all are doing right now in the pandemic? We kind of talked about it, but what are some things that during the pandemic and beyond, because we will get past this at some point, don't know when, don't know where, but it's going to happen. How are you going to take care of your mental and emotional health? Like, what are some things, and maybe offer some tips to other people who may be watching, like, I don't even know where to get started. So Mel, what are you going to do to keep that woosah?
Well, I do several things. One of which is at nighttime, or even during the day, since most of us work inside, I keep my phone in a totally different place. Not my work phone, but my phone, especially at nighttime. My phone is not in my bedroom. I totally take it out because we don't realize there are electromagnetic things happening that disrupt our bodies when it comes to our sleeping pattern. So I take the phone out. That's the first thing I do. I also give myself the grace to, in the mornings, I sit still and be silent and meditate. I do a prayer, and then I have this music I play that I just sit and just be for at least 5 minutes. Then I may read a verse because I want to hear something from the Bible. And then from there, I do these breathing exercises that actually help me as well. So I just sort of calm myself down, and throughout the day, when I feel myself feeling stressed, I do deep breath exercises to calm myself down a lot. so if somebody's acting a fool on the phone, I can still be okay over here. And I've also given myself permission to not be okay with not being in control of absolutely anything. That was the biggest aha I've had. I don't control nothing. So if these people want to act crazy or I have this happen and something went wrong, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just be okay with it. You don't control anything. When you get that in your mind, then you're okay, to some degree. But that's a practice. That's hard to get to that point. But I practice every day to get to that point. In addition, I do a lot of walks in nature. I started now working out more in the sense of getting outside and just walking. Have my music on, whatever I like to listen to. At least I try to do 30 minutes, but if I can't do that, I do something for myself every single day. I also eat well. I really started preparing my meals and eating more things that will give me energy versus taking energy from me. And I also have moments where I laugh a lot more. I find stuff on Netflix or whatever to just have fun, something, because I'm very quirky and nerdy. So I find really cool things that I think are funny. I don't really care if nobody else does, but it's my time, So, and then these meetings, even though we're all on Zoom, I do a lot of I've set up quite a few monthly sessions to keep in contact with people that I care about and just check on them. And I just try to laugh and just be. I've become more comfortable in my skin in a sense of just enjoying myself. If that means, just reading a book or something, just let stuff happen. I know I'm covered. I know I'm gonna be okay. But taking that stress of the strong woman thing to be in control away from myself has really freed me a lot.
That's so good. Pamela, what about you? So moving forward in the midst of this pandemic, because this is unusual, but beyond that, what are some things that you are going to do and you are doing with your mental and emotional health?
Well, currently, I remind myself to breathe. Y'all, listen to me. I have a note in my workspace that just says breathe in all caps, because sometimes I'll catch myself barely breathing. I lie to you not. And I have to remind myself to relax my shoulders and take a deep breath. I also, so that's huge. That's huge for me. I also walk in the morning with Christian. We walk every morning. We have a rest day, like on the weekends, but that is so cathartic for me. It is such an emotional release for me. There have been times where I felt like I might tear up because it's like sometimes you have stuff that you don't have language for. But when I walk and I get tired and stuff starts hurting and burning, that is almost like an emotional release for me. So that has been really, really helpful. I journal. That's helpful for me. I disconnect. I watch movies, ridiculous, mindless TV. I make sure that I keep in touch with my friends. We get on, we do these video calls, we have drinks, we might laugh, we might talk about a particular TV show that we're watching. That's really helpful for me. And also just being really honest with myself and where I am mentally and not lying about being able to handle something. And I'm talking about lying to me, not lying to myself, just being honest and being gracious with myself, giving myself grace and allowing myself to feel and then figure out what I can do to bring myself out of that place, whether it's finding something fun to do or just simply counteracting those negative thoughts and that critical inner voice with something positive. That helps me as well. And therapy.
Yes.
Hello.
Can't leave that out.
Therapy out.
Exactly. Tierney, what you doing over there, girl? To calm yourself and keep your mental and emotional health right.
Okay. So a lot of mine have been said, but I think they're worth repeating. So I'll go down the list. But one, therapy. I see my therapist every Friday. We got to set an appointment. So that is definitely super, super important and helpful for me. I'm trying to plan out this I haven't gotten it all the way down, but I'm trying to plan out this 30-minute time in my morning where I can listen to music and adult color and just kind of like selah. And so some days I do good, some days not so good, but that's something I'm trying to be intentional about. And adult coloring is like freeing and relaxing for me. It's something that I like to do. And so that's something I'm trying to continue to have in my schedule. I have a couple of house plants that I'm trying to learn how to not kill. So so they have been giving me life. Just figuring out what this one needs and what that one needs has been good, keeping things alive. And then allowing myself to take naps. So sometimes in the middle of the day, I just set that alarm for an hour and I'd be like, I'm over it until then. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep. If I just sit here and breathe for an hour, then that's fine. But giving myself permission to take naps when I'm just like overwhelmed or over it has been, those have been the things that have been helpful for me and that I am intentionally going to keep after the pandemic in my schedule.
That's so good. So a few of mine are, I really want to get into meditation. So Mel, maybe you can get some tips because I'm gonna tell you what has really helped me. Callie, like every time, like first of all, I just want to record Callie's voice.
Oh my gosh, what? She needs to do ASMR.
I mean, like I'm so relaxed every time she does it. I'm like, this is amazing. So I really want to get into that. So I'm going to incorporate that in my schedule in the mornings. But for me, and this may sound weird, but a big part of my like helping with my mental and emotional health is sitting with myself and realizing how freaking amazing I am. Because I've been telling myself how horrible I am and this and that, but just really looking at, I'm not that bad. Like I offer so much to the world. And I think that has been hard. Even for me to say that is light years from like a year ago. So just really understanding, who I am, and how God made me and creating this, like it is what it is. Like I love myself and just learning these cool things about myself. So that's really cool. And the other one is walking with my doggy. So we go walking in the mornings. So he gets a nice little walk, and then I put on my Bluetooth headphones, and I'm getting it in the neighborhood. And I just always feel better. And then like we've been saying, just kind of learning to know when to sit down somewhere and just kind of take a breather. My goal is to take a vacation at some point this year. And that was really my goal before the pandemic hit. I was gonna go on 4 vacations this year. But now because we kind of understand the coronavirus just a little bit, I think I'm gonna go off somewhere just to kind of decompress for a second. So that's how I'm going to definitely manage and make sure that my mental emotional health is good. So, ladies, it's time for us to stop. But I want to thank each and every last one of you for being vulnerable, for being open. Big shout out to everybody in the comments because y'all have been commenting. Okay, we're watching you. I'm hope that this conversation was helpful. So, a couple of announcements before we log off. This Saturday, you need to tune in. You need to tune in to Bible and Beyond Live because I just have to tell you, you're not going to want to miss this. We are going to be talking about the dangers of toxic theology, and our very own Pamela is going to be that, and Christian, our pastor. It's going to be great, and I promise you, from beginning to end, you want to be a part. Now, you can log in right here on Facebook or right here on YouTube, wherever you're watching right now, and you can totally join in with us. We would love to have you. I think it's going to be a freeing conversation, and it's going to be a deep one.
A good one.
Go ahead and prepare your hearts and your minds. Just get you some water with you, or a stronger drink if you need it. Especially because it's gonna be that good. So you see it right there on your screen. Text disruptive to 31996 if you want to get more information just about the faith community and Christian, because I know William is on right now, so he would kill me if I don't do this. If you would like to support the ministry, keep seeing us do things like this. We would love for you to partner with us. So yeah, you can give. You can text disruptive and we'll show you how to give. And Christian, if you want to throw up the giving, that'd be amazing. Just so people know the different ways to give. I don't know off the top of my head. There it is. All right. So you have so many different options. We appreciate everything that you, if it's $1, we appreciate you. Okay. So we thank you guys for partnering with us. We'll meet you back here on Tuesday. And then next Thursday, we also have Real Talk. So we love y'all. We hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you share this with somebody who needs to hear it. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sorry, it's just not. Peace, y'all. Bye. Have a good night.